Well, folks, here again for the weekly forecast. Of course, this last week was Husker Harvest Days, and we did see some very warm, windy weather develop during the week. 100-degree temperatures were reported in isolated spots in north central and southwest Nebraska, but consistently we were well into the 90s statewide until we got into the Thursday time frame when we started to see the cold front slip through the state. And we actually generated some decent rainfall totals across portions of northern and central Nebraska as that front moved through the state. And it has now cleared the state, and we are expecting very cool conditions this week. And then we'll pay attention to a trough moving to the Pacific Northwest that looks like a setup to put pieces of energy into our region on a continual basis as we get into the midweek period and beyond, increasing our chances for once again some additional moisture. Now you'll notice that there isn't a lot of changes on the drought monitor this week, and that is because we were at Husker Harvest Days and the drought monitor authors really didn't do much, but they have been given notice about how dry conditions have been, and they are in agreement, so we would expect to see some radical changes in the drought monitor depiction for Nebraska as we get into next week. But let's get to look at the upper air models, and as we look at the upper air models, one thing we'll notice is here's that trough that brought the cooler weather into our region. It's slipping to our east, so in its wake we're expecting pretty much sunny skies today. Very cool conditions, typically well below normal. We're looking at temperatures that are going to be in the upper 60s to the mid to upper 70s. And as we go into tomorrow, we'll notice that not much in the way of activity is that upper air low system is kind of weakened somewhat. We're still in a northwest flow. Some systems may be moving through the northern plains that might just touch off some isolated shower activity in portions of maybe central and northeast Nebraska. But if it does occur, it'll probably be more than the normal of sprinkles. And then as we get into Monday, we start seeing a ridge trying to build in from the southwest, bringing warmer air into the western part of the state. It may be delayed a little bit in the eastern part of the state as we still remain cooler than normal with that northerly flow in eastern Nebraska in the upper atmosphere. As we get into Tuesday, now the ridge starts building in, but we also see some troughing action, so we'll start to see some moisture generating from the southwest and pushing toward the central plains, and we'll need to see some action from this trough digging a little bit farther south before we see the precipitation make it to the surface. So by the time we get to Wednesday, we'll start to see that trough digging rapidly toward the southwest. Here comes that monsoon moisture, so it looks like we may see some scattered shower and thunderstorm activity across the western half of the state, particularly in the later part of the afternoon, and that will translate itself to eastern Nebraska as we get into Thursday, with much cooler conditions starting to invade the northwestern United States and the northern plains. And by Friday, we start to see some relaxation, but we're still going to be in this flow with the moisture pushing out of the southwest, so Nebraska looks to be in the forefront. So we look at the temperature forecast. We are looking for cool conditions this weekend, warming up during the middle part of the week, only to see a cool down as we progress through the week. And as we look at the 8 to 14 day forecast, with more warmth building after that cold comes in, we are expecting above normal temperatures. The good news is we're starting to see much of the moisture moving from the Pacific Northwest into the northern plains and actually setting up for a very wet last week of the month for here in Nebraska.